Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists. In minutes, our movie begins with a girl named Nuri standing by the window, watching some kids playing with boxes and showcasing their skills. She was also pondering whether she had a special talent like theirs or not. Suddenly, she saw a cat below, smiled at it, and unexpectedly began transforming into a cat herself. When her father, Augustus, entered the room, he was shocked to discover his daughter had magical abilities. 6 years later, Nuri had grown up and was recording a video, expressing her excitement about attending a prestigious magical school called Sage Academy. Although she wasn't entirely sure how things would go there, she was confident everything would be fine, because her best friend, Rina, would be joining her at the new school. Nuri praised her friend, who had the ability to create fire with her hands. Even though Rina didn't feel confident in her skills, Nuri reassured her that she was a star at throwing fire and would excel at Sage Academy. She even asked Rina to create a glowing fireball, her favorite thing to watch her do. After Rina complied, Nuri encouraged her, telling her how skilled she was at using her power. Then, Rina took the camera to record Nuri as she attempted to use her own powers. Strangely, Nuri transformed into a peculiar animal, part cat, part kangaroo, and part beaver. When she returned to her normal form, she expressed frustration about not being able to control her transformations. Rina, however, kept encouraging her, telling her she did well. Still, Nuri felt disheartened and admitted she didn't like turning into different creatures, even if it was for something useful. Rina reassured her that it wasn't a problem and reminded her that learning to control their powers was one of the reasons they were going to Sage Academy. Later, Nuri and Rina went with their families to the bus station where the academy's bus was supposed to arrive. While they waited, Augustus asked Nuri how she was feeling. She admitted she was nervous, and he told her it was natural, sharing that her mother had also been nervous on her first day at Sage Academy. Nuri found it hard to believe, as her mother had been exceptionally skilled in magic. Augustus explained that trying new things could sometimes be scary, but assured her she would do well. Nuri agreed, saying she believed that too. Suddenly, a man named Scriv appeared from the forest and instructed the children waiting at the bus stop to follow him to the school. He bid farewell to the parents and warned the children not to use magic while walking through the forest. After saying goodbye to their families, the children followed Scriv into the woods. On the way, Nuri tried to talk to a boy named Andres, but he didn't respond. A few minutes later, Scriv stopped in front of a pit and told the children to follow him through a gate that led to the school. Rina felt nervous, but Nuri encouraged her and helped her feel better. Together, they crossed the gate and finally arrived at Sage Academy, where they saw some students using their abilities. Rina was amazed at how skilled the students were with their fire powers, but Nuri confidently said she was better than them. Shortly after, the new students entered the school and met a woman named Miss Night Slinger, who introduced herself as the academy's headmistress. She explained that they were there because they had magical abilities and would learn how to use them according to Sage Academy's teachings. She then described how the academy was divided into 5 houses, each dedicated to a specific type of ability. For instance, students who could create fire with their hands would join the flare house, while those who could fly slightly above the ground would join another house. Students who could communicate with animals would be placed in one house, and those who could move objects with their hands would join another. As for students like Nuri, who could transform into animals, they would belong to a house called Fluxers. Nuri was thrilled, proudly declaring herself a Fluxer, though she didn't fully understand what that entailed. Then she said that all the students must take a placement test in order to see if they deserved to enter the honors class. After that, Night Slinger sat with some other teachers at the school to evaluate the students' class after class. The first class to be evaluated was Flare class. They told the kids to light a candle from 6 feet away. The boy said that this was too easy for him because he could do something bigger, but Night Slinger told him that they weren't here to show off. She explained that they were all in school to learn the way that the Sage Academy teaches. After the boy did what was asked of him, he took a card, and they told him to leave the hall. Every time a student passed the test, he took a card and was asked to wait outside. After a while, a boy named Elliot was only able to blow smoke from his hand. Nightslinger said that he was the first student to fail that day. When it was our turn to be evaluated, she performed well and took her card. The next class was 4Z class. Each student was required to communicate with an animal as part of the test. As for Flicker, they were required to move empty things towards them from 6 feet away, but a girl named Pepper was able to move the vase in front of them and break it against the wall by squeezing the papers on the committee tables. Although Nightslinger was clearly frustrated, she said that Pepper did a good job. After that, it was the flyers' turn to be evaluated. They were required to fly 3 feet in the air and hold their positions for 30 seconds before they could safely come down. When it was Andres's turn, he picked up his bag and flew towards the ceiling. Nightslinger complained and told him that he wasn't doing what he was asked to do. She asked him to come down, but unfortunately, Andres wasn't able to control his ability to come down, and that's why he always wears a bag full of bricks. Because he couldn't come down on his own, Nightslinger called Scribe to bring him a ladder. The last class to be evaluated was Flux's class, and the students were required to turn into gray cats and remain in that position for 6 seconds. During her test, Nori turned into a flying cat, which surprised Nightslinger and the rest of the teachers. After she returned to her normal form, the teachers didn't seem impressed, but despite that, the do card. After a while, Nightslinger asked all the new students to gather outside the school building. Then she told them to look at their cards to know that they were in a class. Suddenly, Rena's blank card turned into a flare symbol, and she entered excitedly. But Nori's card showed the letters UDM, which shocked her because there was no class with that name. When all the students moved to their class, Nori tried to go with Rena, but Nightslinger stopped her and told her that she had to go to the forest because there was a class there. Before Rena walked to her class, she asked Nori if she would be okay alone, and Nori said that she would be fine. Then Nori went to the forest, and there she discovered that the UDM class was located in an underground hideout. The matter surprised her, but she stood there thinking about how to get in until Scribe opened the door. Then he asked her who she was. She told him that she was told to go to the UDM class. Scribe told her to come with him. When she entered, she found Elliot, Andres, and Pepper sitting in the class. Then Scribe gave her a UDM class uniform, but Nori was surprised because it didn't have a chic jacket like the ones he asked for at school. Scribe told her to wear her jacket, but Nori didn't understand the matter. Elliot asked her if she failed her test, but she said that she blew the judges' minds with amazement. Scribe told her that this meant that she failed her test, like the other students in the class who couldn't do the simple task that was required of them. He explained that they all have strange magic and Mew, and that's why the UDM interval followed it, or upside-down magic, which means magic that is out of control. Pepper asked if they would still use magic, but Escrivá came to study normally in the class. Elliot was confused, but Scruffy said that they wouldn't be able to use the second magic, and added that his job was to keep them busy and productive, and that he was also responsible for maintaining the school. Nori asked why they weren't allowed to use magic in class, and before Scruffy could answer, Nightslinger appeared and said that it was because their price was wrong. Nori was convinced that they could learn to control it, but Nightslinger said that was impossible, and added that upside-down magic was never real magic, and that they were simply unteachable people. Whoever asked what would happen to them next, Slinger said that they would sit in the class and wait until their magic wore off, and she explained further that magic was like a muscle, and if it wasn't used for a while, it would stop working completely. At that point, the students would go back to the world to look for any profession they liked. Nori couldn't understand why they had to act this way, but Nightslinger said that this was for the sake of humanity. Then she mentioned that the UDM where they met as normal students until 1939, when a student named Reginald became the perfect host for shadow magic, which is the dark side of normal magic. Nightslinger explained that shadow magic only exists to spread chaos and instability. She added that they were able to control Reginald's shadow magic, and therefore they would not take any risks with UDM students, because they would be the perfect host for shadow magic. The students were upset, but night slinger told them that they should stay in the UDM class until they could no longer use magic. After Scribe left, she took the class and asked the students to write about their feelings about losing their ability to use magic. Instead of doing that, Nori wrote that she would do everything she could to keep her magic straight and to remain a real fluxer elsewhere. A professor named Argon welcomed the new students to Flair's class. After talking about the importance of joining the class, she announced that the top 2 students from each house would be chosen to participate in the Sage Match, a special competition held during the school's Founders' Day celebration. She then began teaching the students what it meant to be a true Flair, and asked Rena to step forward as an example of what they would be doing. She expressed high expectations for Rena, especially since her test scores had been excellent. After placing some kernels in a dish, she asked Rena to use her powers to make perfect popcorn. Unfortunately, Rena burned the popcorn and looked visibly disappointed as she was told to return to her seat. Meanwhile, a girl named Chandra stood outside the classroom, giving Rena a strange look. The next day, Scriv took the students to a storage room and showed them some brooms. Nuri initially thought they were flying brooms, but when she tried to fly with one, she clumsily fell to the ground. Scriv explained that these brooms were meant for cleaning the school, and that's what they would be doing that day. While Nuri was sweeping, she noticed the fluxers in their classroom with a professor named Han. Han showed the students a small cat and explained its features to make it easier for them to transform into it. Nuri sketched the cat in her notebook, and when Han allowed the students to touch the animal, she approached to see if she could touch it too. While sweeping near the classroom, Han noticed her and remarked that non-fluxers weren't supposed to approach the regular classes. Nuri explained that she was just sweeping the floor and tried not to worry. However, she eventually took the cat from Han to get a closer look. As she attempted to transform into the cat, she turned into something entirely different, shocking both Han and the other students. Later, Nuri was forbidden from going to the cafeteria for lunch. She didn't understand why, but it was explained to her that she wasn't allowed to use her magic anymore. She was told this was for her own protection, and she said she understood. When she was finally allowed to go to lunch, she sat at a table with the other non-fluxers. While they were discussing what had happened with her, Andres spoke up for the first time, leaving Nuri feeling sad. At the same time, Rena saw Nori in the cafeteria, and when she went towards her, Arjun stopped her. Rena did not understand why, but Arjun told her that Nori would make her stay focused. Rena was frustrated, and when she returned to her place, Nori was surprised and wondered. Arjun told her what. After that, Nori talked about how she would keep trying to be a real laxer. Her colleagues did not understand how she would do that, but she said that she would reduce her magic and disrupt the Sage Match to prove to everyone that the UUDMs could do real magic. Andres said that he was confident that she could, but Aliot and Pepper were not enthusiastic. At the same time, Rena was sitting alone and upset because she was unable to talk to her friends. Shana was looking at her from afar and smiling. After a few days, Rena spent some time trying to improve in making popcorn alone. During Arjun's class, a boy named Philip performed well and impressed the professor. Arjun said that he was the best student so far, and that she had to decide who would compete with him in the Sage Match. When Arjun called Rena to make the popcorn, it wasn't as good as Philip's, and the professor said that she was the second best student. Rena wasn't happy about that, but she didn't say anything. After she left the class, she bumped into Chandra, who told her that she performed well. "Bravo, Rena." Rena could see that she didn't do anything, but Chandra said that Arjun doesn't have a vision, and added that she is sure that Rena has a power much greater than what Philip can imagine. Rena thanked her for her words, and Chandra. She told her that if she needed any help in exploiting her full powers, she had something that could help her. After a while, Rena was sitting outside, and Nori came to meet her. They were happy to see each other, and Nori asked her if she was excelling in her studies and making a lot of friends. Rena lied and said that she was fine, and asked her if Nori was happy with with the UUDMs. Nori also lied about her feelings. In the end, the two of them went their way. After a while, Reina spent some time in the library, trying to read more about how she could improve her powers. After she finished, she put a book back on the shelf, but another book fell. Reina was shocked, and it turned out that the book that fell was about shadow magic. When she opened the book, the light in the library cut off. Reina was scared, so she quickly closed the book and put it back on the shelf. While she was gathering her things from the table, she found the book again. When she was surprised, how did the book return back so quickly? It turned out that Chandra was inside the library, and she was the one who was trying to make Reina read the book somewhere else. Nori was practicing her magic with her friends, but she was still not able to maintain her form for 6 seconds. But Pepper said that she would never be able to do it. But Nori said that she was confident that her power would work well during the Sage match. The next day, Reina saw Nori happy with her friends, and this made her feel sad. While sitting on her bed, Nori saw the shadow magic book again and was shocked. Suddenly, the book opened to a page explaining how to summon hidden power. As she thought about her inability to make perfect popcorn, she held the book, and its words began swirling around her until they entered her body. Reina, who didn't understand what had happened, noticed she felt different. Meanwhile, Nuri was absent from the UUDM's class, which Scriv noticed. He asked the other students where she was, but at first, they pretended not to know. But Anders said she wanted to prove to everyone that UUDMs could be learned. How would she do that? Piper said she would cut from the SIG match. Scriv couldn't believe it and immediately left the classroom. At that moment, the Sage match began. Scriv couldn't believe it and left the classroom immediately. From that moment, the SIG match started with the fat flares, and Rena was against Philip. When they were asked to act quickly, Rena outpaced Philip and entered, stunned. Arjun was happy as she announced that Rena was the winner. Night Slinger said she would represent the flares at the Founders celebration. Before they called for the next act, Nuri stormed in and said she wanted to prove her ability to everyone. Night Slinger asked her to leave, but Nuri refused. Then she tried to transform into a cat, but turned into something else and started wreaking havoc everywhere. Rena was upset seeing her friend in that state, so she decided to show her a glowing fireball to calm her down and bring her back to her normal form. But as soon as she did that, the fireball grew strangely, and Rena couldn't understand what was happening. In the end, she used the fireball and struck Nuri, who fell to the ground and returned to her normal shape. Rena immediately ran to apologize to Nuri, but she said it wasn't a big deal. After that, Night Slinger told Nuri the only reason she wouldn't be expelled was that her power was still dangerous to the public. She added that Scriv must ensure his students stay in the shelter. She also said if they did anything unacceptable again, Scriv would lose his job. Scriv was shocked when he heard that, but she also said they were banned from attending the celebration. Nuri's classmates were upset by the decision. When they returned to the classroom, they began complaining that she had given them hope that things would improve. Nuri apologized to them and said she thought the situation might turn in their favor. Scriv was upset because of this and asked the students to leave. Then he said he knew Nuri apologized, but she shouldn't have because all she did was believe she was better than what the rules said about her. He added that he was the one who should apologize because he allowed their dreams to be crushed by the rules. He said he had always watched UUDMs sacrifice their dreams instead of helping them understand their powers. He also said that Nuri made him believe there was hope and that things could change. He said he would teach them to be better. The students were surprised and asked how he would do that when he didn't have any powers. Scriv replied that it wasn't true, but he could indeed sing to communicate with animals, not just talk to them like other UUDMs. Then he told them that when he was an orphan, he came to the shelter with no place to go. He waited and worked as a guard and taught future UUDMs like him. Nuri asked him how he was still able to use his power. He replied that he kept using it over time and never stopped. After that, he told the students they would start training the next day. On their way back to the shelter, Nuri told Anders how the day started badly but suddenly improved. Then she told him she noticed something different in Rena's power. Rena, feeling guilty, said she could have killed Nuri with the fireball, but Chandra Chandra said that was one of the side effects of using shadow magic. She added that Reena couldn't take one thing from the book and leave the rest. Reena asked her to leave her room with the book, and Chandra did. But strangely, Reena saw the book still in her room. When she opened the door to call Chandra to take the book, she found Nuri standing in front of her. Reena was shocked when she saw her, but immediately ran to hug her. Nuri asked if she could come into the room to talk to her, but Reena refused because she didn't want Nuri to see the book. Nuri was surprised by her behavior, but didn't say anything. The next day, Scriv began training the UUDMs on an alternative curriculum he had developed after observing the shelter's methods for years. Then he told the students they needed to think about what they wanted their powers to do, instead of trying to change them. This allowed Anders to fly without his bag to see how far he could go, Piper to use her power to gather fallen leaves, and Ellie to use her power to repel bees. Surprisingly, Scriv asked Nuri to work on pruning the school's plants to learn how to imagine and create different animal forms. It also helped her build more confidence in trying to transform into different animals. After days of training, Scriv managed to help the students better control their powers, which made them very happy. Elsewhere, Reena was feeling lonely as she watched her classmates perform their movements with their powers. Suddenly, Chandra appeared behind her and told her she was better than all of them. Reena told Chandra to leave her alone, but Chandra said she couldn't. It also adds that Reena read her book, making them connected. It talks about how they can truly become strong if they cooperate with each other. Reena shouts at her and says, "Go." In the past, Reena is asked who she is talking to, and when she tells them it's Chandra, none of them seem to recognize that name. Then Chandra tells Reena that she is the only one who can hear, see, and talk to her. Reena is taken aback by this and decides to return to her room, but Chandra stops her before she walks away and tells her she wants to know her worth. She also adds that Reena is like her old friend Reginald, who always doubted his strength. Chandra says that Reena is much stronger and has even reached a level of perfection. Suddenly, the light in the room starts flickering, and when Reena asks what is happening, Chandra tells her she is embracing the shadow magic within her. She adds that Reena is tired of hiding in the shadows when she can become the shadow itself. She tells Reena to admit that she is exhausted. Reena agrees and starts absorbing the shadow magic. At the same moment, Nuri arrives at the school looking for Reena. As she's about to enter, she notices the lights outside flickering and wonders what is happening. When she enters the building, she finds Reena's eyes completely black, making her appear possessed. Nuri calls out to her, but the entity inside Reena says it is no longer Reena. Reena is shocked because she thought only the UUDMS could be possessed by shadow magic. However, the entity says it can control anyone and adds that it will eliminate everyone in the school, starting with Nuri. Nuri tries to get Reena to resist and regain control of her body, but as the entity is about to attack her, she runs away. She then tells Scriff and the others what happened. Scriff is shocked and says the entity is likely waiting for the right moment to strike. As they try to figure out what it could be waiting for, Nuri suggests it might be the Founders' Day celebration happening the next day. Nuri proposes informing Night Slinger, but Scriff argues that she wouldn't believe them. They prepare for whatever might happen at the celebration. The next day, Nuri motivates the other students, convincing them they can face any monster they encounter. Elsewhere, the Founders' Day celebration begins. Reena is invited to showcase her powers as a representative of the Flare class. As Reena stands, she conjures a massive fireball and declares to everyone at the celebration that they are the last people they will ever see before they die. She then fully transforms into a monster, shocking everyone. Night Slinger and the others on stage quickly flee to hide. The school instructors order the students to attack the monster, but unfortunately, their powers are no match for it. When Night Slinger and Argon don't know what to do, Scriff appears, saying there is still one group that hasn't done anything yet. Scriff's students then team up to attack the monster. Nuri also transforms into a mix of a lynx and a small cat. After successfully taking down the monster, Night Slinger tells the students to finish it off. Before they can, Nuri stands in front of the monster to stop them from attacking it. Scriff and Nuri's classmates stand beside her. Night Slinger asks them what they are doing, and Scriff explains that Nuri's friend is trapped inside the monster, so they cannot destroy it. Nuri then returns to her normal form and tells Reena that she must fight with all her strength. She also tells her that she is the blazing fire star, but the monster still controls her body. As it is about to attack, Rina creates a glowing fireball and uses it to destroy the monster from within. This causes her to lose consciousness. When Nuri approaches her, she wakes up. The two friends embrace, happy to be together again. All the students cheer for them and celebrate their victory. The leaders of Sage Academy change the rules, making the UDMs regular students like everyone else. Thus, the UDMs join the Flare class. Andres moves to the Flare class, while Pepper stays with the Flickers, and Scriff takes a teaching position with the Fizzers class. Nuri continues in the Fluxers class and becomes a star there. Despite initially being assigned to a class for students with peculiar abilities, Nuri never gave up and always wanted to stand out. With Scriff's help, she improved and proved to everyone that she was not a misfit. This was crucial because she and the other UDMs saved Rina and the entire Sage Academy from death. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.